Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some stocks on the move today here in Europe. I'm Caroline Hepkett with Lizzie Burden, and we're joined by Bloomberg reporter Chloe Millay. Good morning. So Coca-Cola HBC, which is the bottling company, right? It said that it will buy a stake in Coca-Cola Beverages Africa, CCBA. Give us the picture on that.
Yeah, so it's quite a big deal, actually, that was announced today. So as you say, Coca-Cola HBC, which operates in Europe, but also Nigeria and Egypt, is buying a majority stake in another Coca-Cola bottling company, CCBA, and that is for $2.6 billion, and that will give it access to 14 additional African markets, and that will also create the second largest bottling partner for Coca-Cola globally. BI analysts said that this deepens Coca-Cola HBC's presence in a region that's quite important because it has a very fast-growing young urban population and quite a lot of long-term potential, especially given that demand for fizzy drinks like Coca-Cola is falling in other markets, like the US, for example. But the shares are actually down this morning, and what the market is potentially reacting quite negatively to is that the company cancelled its share buyback, which indicates that it's kind of prioritizing that expansion, those deals over capital returns, and obviously investors are not super happy about that.
And then meanwhile, Husqvarna, not a company that I think many would be familiar with, but this is out of Stockholm.
Yeah, so this is a Swedish company that makes lawn mowers and gardening tools.
That's why I've never heard of it. I don't mow the lawn.
Well, it's a smaller company, on the smaller end, but it's quite interesting what it's saying. So the third quarter results missed estimates, and it said that there was particular weakness in North America, which is one of its key markets, and especially the residential side of that market, because so essentially kind of everyday consumers buying those gardening tools. It said that the uncertainty remained in that market because of ongoing trade policy turbulence, foreign exchange volatility, and also subdued consumer sentiment. So all of that has also been flagged by Assa Abloy, which is another of those kind of smaller industrial companies, which makes locks and gates and whatever else, and also flagged that weakness in that North American residential market. So it seems that we're seeing that knock-on effect on those European companies from that kind of weak consumer sentiment over in the US.
That's interesting. You're behind the times in terms of mowing the lawn because people don't do it anymore. Companies like this one, you get the lawnmower and it powers itself. It goes all around the lawn. It does the chopping.
I've got a robo vacuum cleaner, but I'm not onto the robo mower yet.
Well, that's why Husqvarna is not doing well.
My husband's listening. Christmas is coming.
Right. Let's think about Edenred. Third quarter earnings. Better received there. Why?
Yeah, so it's a provider of payment services in the workplace. So essentially providing employee benefits like meal vouchers. And the shares saw the biggest spike on record because the company reported those better than expected results, better than expected sales in particular, which is really well received given that there's been a lot of pressure on the shares recently. Some of those concerns are around regulatory issues. So there was the introduction of a fee cap in Italy, which meant that it capped the fee that meal voucher issuers could charge to merchants at 5% of their face value. And there's expectations that kind of similar regulations could be also arising in France and Brazil. And those are kind of really important markets for Edenred. So there was a lot of those concerns that had been putting pressure on the shares. But now the fact that it reported that better than expected revenue is providing some of that relief. And we saw a big spike in the shares this morning as a result.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.